Hi guys, welcome back to another cool movie ratings podcast. And today we're talking about movie conventions. We're talking about Monster Mania, but I'm gonna give you guys some tips on how to go to movie conventions, and especially if you're on the East Coast, um, these will be really helpful if you ever go to Monster Mania, because I've been to 3 Monster Manias before all this year. I know they're having one in Oaks, PA, but I'm not gonna go to that one. But they are the best place to go for conventions around here. So I'm gonna talk about some of my tips that I give to people who want to go to conventions, and I know this will apply for people when I go to Monster Mania, but I think these could apply other places also. So this might be a shorter podcast episode because on weekdays I have school and I don't have as much time to write a script, but I do want to get this out, so I'm going to try and make this a decently long episode, but not an hour like they have been. So, let's dive right into this. So, how to make your convention experience the best. Number one here, I have on my list, I have bring a backpack. And, this is for, the stuff that you buy at, vendors, because one of the biggest things there is vendors. There are so many vendors at, I believe, any convention you go to, and the vendors are really cool. They sell really cool things. So I'd bring a backpack if you're doing that, and if you're getting stuff signed, I would recommend bring the backpack to put your stuff in. And that's worked out for me. I've done that all 3 times, and I've brung a backpack, and it's worked out very well. And yeah. Next, I have keep snacks in your backpack, because at Monster Mania, 2 of the ones I went to were sold out, so we couldn't really get off the premises, or we would lose our parking spot and have to go park far away. So definitely bring snacks with you, because you could be waiting in line for hours. The most I ever waited in a line was for Dick Warlock, who was absolutely awesome. Totally worth it. He plays Michael Myers in Halloween 2. At Monster Mania 50, I had to wait about 2.5 hours to see him, which actually is not bad at all. And it's I'm really lucky that that's the longest I've ever had to wait for anyone. But keep snacks in your backpack. I would say depending on how long you're there for, keep breakfast, lunch, and dinner in a cooler either in your car, or if you have space in your backpack, I recommend keeping it in your car, because we did that for the 2 last conventions we went to, and that worked out good because we didn't have to get off the convention grounds and possibly lose our parking spot, and that worked out good. So what we did was we just packed some food and we left it in the car in a cooler, and then we ate we went for the whole day, so but every time we went, except the first and last time, because we didn't stay for the night stuff, because it was we were tired because school had just started for me, and my dad wasn't feeling too good that day. But bring, depending on how long you're there for, what time you're there, lunch, breakfast, and dinner. And none of this really applies if you're going to stay at the actual hotel or place where it's located. I live close enough where it's, the one in Cherry Hill is like an hour away. And so we can just do a day drive there. We only go on Saturdays usually. And Hunt Valley's pretty close to where I live. So that one's even more convenient. But I know you can get weekend passes. We only go for Saturdays. And I would recommend, if you have the time, I would recommend, if you live close enough, just go on Sunday, because Sunday stuff, it ends faster. But if you're only going to meet 1 celebrity or 2 celebrities, depends on who the celebrity is and how, if they're going to be there the whole weekend, because barely anyone goes on Sunday, I believe. And something cool about Monster Mania is they have a really cool Facebook fan page, so you can see what people say. So based off of what I've seen on there, it's usually not that crowded on Sunday. I've never been on Sunday because the Cherry Hill one, we couldn't ever make it on a Sunday. Maybe the Hunt Valley one, but yeah. Next thing I have, arrive to the convention earlier than the ticket redemption starts. No matter if you're nearby, in a hotel nearby, or actually in the hotel, because I know Monster Mania started at like 8 o'clock, and we were always there at like 7:45, because right as they start redeeming, the line really goes out the door, and depends on what season you're in, because I've been for winter, summer, and fall, and both fall and winter, it was freezing cold. It was snowing literally on the first day I went to the convention, and it was really funny. But um, we were lucky that we got inside all 3 times. And Monster Mania 51 that I went to, the one in Hunt Valley, did not sell out, so that was actually nice because it wasn't as crowded. But um, yeah, so arrive earlier than they start redeeming tickets, so you can actually chill until, if you have, I know that some people do this. I'm really basing this mostly off of my experience at Monster Mania, but they have like early vendors. If you buy a early ticket, you can get in an hour early for just the vendors. But if you don't, you have like 2 hours to do whatever you want. But it's better than having to stand for 2 hours waiting for your ticket to be redeemed. So I recommend that. Um, Next up, bring only necessary things in your backpack. So I would honestly recommend leaving your food out in the car, maybe some small snacks, because you really want to have space if you think something's like, oh, you want to buy something off a vendor, and instead of having to run it out to your car or get something signed, you can just put it in your backpack. And another thing that goes along with that, do not put immediately signed things in your backpack or whatever you're using to carry it. I think that one's pretty well known because you don't want to mess up your autograph. And yeah, and some of the necessary things in your backpack could be, you always have to bring your wallet, obviously, and the signed and bought things from the vendors as mentioned. And then bring your own Sharpie that you want the color of the signature to be, because we've never run into this issue, but I would see it, and we've brought Sharpies every time, and bring the correct ones in case the celebrity you have or your meeting doesn't have the correct one. They can use it, and you know it's good, because you don't want to get something like spend so much money to get something signed and it be in a bad color where you can't see it. But I've never had a case where we need to use our own pens, but we bring the Sharpies every time. So, be ready to wait in a super long line. Like, prepare yourself mentally, which it sounds kind of funny, but it is true. Prepare yourself mentally, because these lines can be crazy. I've never met like the biggest stars at one of these. Like, I met John Bernthal at Monster Mania 51, who was one of the biggest stars. But like the Monster Mania 50 when the Screamcast was there, dude, that was crazy. Cause when we went upstairs to look for where the Q&As were, me and my dad, we looked in a room and it was like 400 people in one room who were on there was like 2 whole rooms of like 400 people piece. I'm not even joking. There was so many people waiting for David Arquette, and funny enough, right after that, David Arquette walks out right in front of me and my dad, looks at me, and my dad, and we were like, whoa, that's pretty cool, because I hadn't seen him at that point. And, yeah. So, it depends on who you meet. Like, if you meet someone like Robert Englund, yeah, you're going to be waiting for at least 4 hours, I would say. If you don't have the VIP, skip the line thing at Monster Mania. But if you're meeting someone more low-key, it's not going to be that long at all. I think the person who I waited the least for, I can't remember. It was a couple people who didn't have any line. I don't remember who it was, but there was 2 people that didn't have a line. So, I just walked right up to them. But, yeah. And if you're going to a con solo, know that table photos are usually... or not table photos. Yeah, table photos. The celebrity has a person there who helps them with, stuff, like, you give them the cash and stuff, and they usually, if you're going solo, they'll take a picture for you if you want to get a picture with that celebrity and pay for it. So, I've always gone with my dad, so he's always done it, but, yeah, that might be helpful, because I know some people go solo, and they're like, oh, what do? I want to get a picture, but I don't have anyone else with me. The people who have a person with them. So the next thing I would talk about in movie conventions is panels, because panels can be super awesome, and they are awesome. I've never been to a panel I disliked. I've been to 4 before. No, I've been to 6 before. I don't know what I'm saying. Because at Monster Mania 50, we stayed late, because that was during the summer, and it was hot out, and we felt good, so we stayed for the Greg Nicotero Q&A, who was awesome, because I'm into The Walking Dead a lot, and hearing him talk about how the most disturbing thing he ever did was kill Glenn, it was like, oh, and my dad hasn't even gotten to that point yet, so I was like, oh yeah, that happens. Then he talked about how Terminus was the second most disturbing thing, which I wouldn't expect. If you worked on Laurie's death, that's the saddest thing I've ever seen in movie or TV. Even sadder than like the ending to The Mist. And yeah, and then I went to Zach Galligan's Q&A after I met him, so that was pretty cool. And I got to meet Zach Galligan that day, and I dressed up as Billy. If you go and watch my Monster Mania 50 video, which is one of my best videos ever made, it's probably in the top 3 of my favorites I've ever made, because the editing took so long. I've got like a lot of Q&As and stuff in there. So go watch that video, and go watch all the Monster Mania videos, because I go into depth a lot more with the people who I met. And yeah, but by far, I can say this, my favorite Q&A I've ever been to was the Scream reunion Q&A, because Matthew Lillard, David Arquette, Jamie Kennedy, Lee Waddell, and W. Earl Brown were there. And I know that Skeet Ulrich, Marley Shelton, and Skeet Ulrich were supposed to be there, but even though they canceled, it was still an absolutely awesome Q&A. And it was just really funny, because Matthew Lillard, he seems like the nicest person in the world. So whenever he goes to one of these conventions next, I'm going to meet him next time, because just seems like a super nice guy, and there was so many funny parts. And look up the Q&A on YouTube. It's Monster Mania 50 Scream Reunion. You can find it. There's like a really good upload that I saw. It's a great video, and absolutely amazing Q&A to attend in person, because it was one of the funniest things I've ever been to. And then right after that, they hit us double in a 2 in a row with absolutely amazing guest panels. You've got the Alien/Aliens Q&A, which honestly, I like Alien and Aliens more than Scream. So this meant a lot to see people like Veronica Cartwright and Tom Skerritt from the original Alien. I never thought that I'd have the chance to even see them in person. So that was absolutely amazing to see them talk about the experience and get to listen to someone who actually was on the Alien set, was in the movie, got to experience making it. So that was absolutely amazing. And then for Monster Mania 51, I went to 2 panels, and this might be my second or third favorite. I went to a Halloween 78 reunion panel, and this was with Charles Cyphers and Nancy Loomis, who I met earlier that day, and they're so awesome, and I cannot believe that I met people from the original Halloween. And go watch that video to learn about the experience, I guess, like a more in-depth experience. And the Q&A, it was just so awesome to hear them talk about John Carpenter, and still absolutely blows my mind that I got to meet 2 people from my all-time favorite horror movie, my 3rd favorite movie of all time. So that was absolutely awesome. And then I got to listen to a Q&A with Tom Morga, and he played Halloween. He played Michael Myers, Leatherface, and Jason Voorhees. So pretty cool to listen to him talk about Friday Part 5 and Halloween 4, and a little bit about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which I've never seen, but I'm very intrigued about it, because I've heard it's one of the best sequels, because it mixes comedy in, which I'm a really big fan of horror comedies with like Dawn of the Dead. So that's going to be interesting to watch. But yeah, that's when my dad tapped out, and he was like, I have to go home. But I still got to go to 2 absolutely amazing Q&As that day. And panels are just so amazing, because I would say that it's worth admission, just to, because you don't have to pay to get into the panels. If you have the if you bought the ticket, you automatically get to go to the panels. But you have to arrive early. That's another tip. You have to arrive early to the panels to get good seats. Because for the Scream one, I didn't expect it to be so crazily packed. Like, there was so many people in that room. We still got decent seats, but totally arrive. It depends on what panel you're seeing. Like, if it's the Scream panel, arrive 40 minutes early, I would say, to secure, like, front row seats. And, yeah. So, panels, absolutely awesome. And, totally worth it. And, yes. So, I would say group panels are more interesting than one-person panels, but it really depends on who you're seeing, because I really enjoyed all three of the group panels I saw, but also I enjoyed the other three individual panels I saw, and yeah, so I don't know what convention I'm going to next, probably none this year, but I'm really excited because I've found this year, and I've went to 3 this year, and it was just super awesome because I really enjoy this. This is like my favorite hobby besides, I would say, watching movies and collecting physical media. Going to these horror conventions, because it's not just about going to meet the celebrities. Like, that's really awesome, and that's probably the main draw for me. But you get to talk to people who also love horror, and you get to see the people who love horror. Like, oh my god, that guy's wearing a Halloween 3 t-shirt. Oh my god, that guy is from Halloween 3. Oh my god. So, I would totally recommend try going to a movie convention near you. Um, I know that they have, I think horror conventions they're way more, uh, like, they're more popular than just regular movie conventions, but, go to go to some convention that's related to movies, because it is worth the experience and testing it out, and yeah. And with, like, the autograph prices, I'd recommend checking if they have, like, a fan page. I know most conventions do. Like, I also know the Cheller Theater has a fan page. Like, people post the prices on there if the actual con doesn't come out and talk about the prices. Like, Monster Mania doesn't, which is fine. I understand why they wouldn't do that. But people on the Facebook can just come out and post it. So that's nice to give you an idea of what you need to bring, like how much money you need to bring the day of. But I just absolutely love going to Monster Mania, and I will continue to go there, and yeah. So this was a pretty short podcast. It didn't even clock in at 20 minutes. I'm sorry if it's pretty short, but I didn't have much to talk about here because most of it's already been said. And I'm working on some podcast episodes, and I was late to one, so I had to scrap it. It was supposed to be the third one. It was going to be about best movies to watch on Halloween. I was going to record it on Halloween, but I had plans and I just didn't have the time. So, yeah, a little insight onto that list. Number 1 was Halloween 3 because there's just the greatest tone for Halloween night. But anyways, I really enjoy movie conventions. Definitely try it out. And I guess real quick before I go, I'll talk about some of my favorite people I've met. I gotta say, John Bernthal, absolutely amazing guy, because he went super fast. Like, we were at the back of his line, and within like 15 minutes or less, we were already at the front. But he stood there and talked to me for 3 minutes or more, which is super generous with a celebrity like him. And we talked about The Walking Dead, and super, super cool guy. Anthony Michael Hall, the first ever celebrity I met. This one's a standout because he was just so awesome I think he thought it was awesome that someone was there to talk about The Breakfast Club and Weird Science. He actually gave me a 11 by 12 poster signed completely free of the Weird Science, which I said was my second favorite comedy movie behind Breakfast Club, which I got signed the little steelbook for. And yeah, and another great person to meet was Ralph Macchio. That was just awesome because he's just such a legendary guy. And there was a lot of kids at that one because they wanted to meet Ralph Macchio. And at the other two, there were barely any kids because horror is not there's not many kids at horror movie events, but I enjoy doing it and I will always enjoy doing it. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching the podcast episode 3 about horror movie conventions. I don't know what episode 4 is going to be about just yet. I'll probably start writing it right up as I'm done with this. But I'd say expect it by the end of this weekend. I'll say that. Because, yeah, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do one during the week and possibly 2 on the weekend, so who knows. But, thank you guys so much for watching this Cool Movie Ratings podcast episode, and I will see you guys later. Bye, guys.